Well, the World Series starts tonight on Fox. Justin Verlander, who's about as good as you can be throwing a baseball at 39 years old, is going to go up against a guy a decade younger, Aaron Nola. You get Bryce Harper. The Phillies are a great story. Apparently, they have a chance to be a great team. The Astros are the villain of baseball, but appear to be really loaded and the more talented team. John Smoltz, 22 years, a World Series champ, a Cy Young. The list goes on and on. So it is interesting. Bryce Harper's amazing. So at 16, like a Tiger Woods, the weight of the world on his shoulders. And he got some pushback from teammates. He was a little flashy, the big hair, incredibly embraceable. And it's crazy, but that kind of heat can melt players. He has been unbelievable in this postseason. Are even you a little surprised by how great he's been?
Well, I mean, you nailed it. It was breaking into the league with the highest expectations I've ever seen of a player, and maybe went about certain things in the wrong way, as young players do. He's matured. He's a veteran, believe it or not. He's a seasoned veteran of this game with about 9 more years to go on a contract. And he's embraced everything. I've talked to people in Philadelphia. He's done everything you could ask for. And now he's delivering on the stage that you know he was built for. I mean, this is what everybody talked about when they talked about Bryce Harper. So he came in not right mechanically because of the injury. He was struggling, and the playoffs got him going. In a lot of ways, this has been the timing he and the Phillies could have used for perfect timing. And you think about it, with the new rule change, the DH, we wouldn't even be talking about Bryce Harper if it weren't the universal DH because of the inability to throw and play the field. So sacrifice a little bit Philadelphia defensively, but they gain a lot offensively. And look, if it were me and I'm seeing this lineup card tonight, I'm circling him. He's not beating me. I'm making the right-handers behind him do something. And Bryce Harper's not. That's what you have to think about if you're the Houston Astros. He cannot beat you because he single-handedly has been that good in the postseason.
Well, we saw the Astros shut down the Yankees, which, by the way, they've done in the last several years. They are great teams, all have something in common. You make a little mistake, and they pounce on it, and that's what the Astros do. Tonight, Verlander goes to the mound. He still throws gas at 39 years old. But a little, in the playoffs, he's had a couple of outings, one good, one not so good. Where is he? Compare him to 33-year-old Verlander. Where is he? Do you trust him tonight?
Yeah, I know the record for the World Series is very misleading. I had to check it like 15 times to see if that was accurate because I still don't believe it. But he's a classic pitcher that can exploit the weaknesses of the other team, and he's going up against a free-swinging team. So Tonight's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be 3 solo home runs or 12 strikeouts, and it could be both. Because that's what the Philadelphia Phillies do. They're up there to swing. They don't really have a lot of change in approaches. And if he's at the top of his game, Justin Verlander can expose the top of the zone better than anybody, and that's what I'm looking to see. Top of the zone fastball, curveball sliders off the plate, and the Phillies are going to have to make him throw some strikes. If they don't, then he can have whatever he wants to do with the stuff he has. So it's really going to come down to some aggressive first pitch hitting and whether or not they get a pitch that they can handle, because Justin Verlander has, as I called him forever, the 10-speed bike. He still has 7 gears of his 10 left at 39. He still can rev it up there, but he's a command pitcher. He's cerebral. He knows what he's doing, and he will definitely get the ball to the weakest spot that a hitter has.
It's interesting. Some of the stuff in the postseason was kind of predictable. The Mets didn't have enough sticks, and we saw it. You kind of knew that as the season progressed, just didn't have enough sticks. Yankees, the injury to an outfielder, the leadoff hitter, their pitching was suspect when King went down. So we saw that. A lot of the things are predictable in baseball over the course of a season. Dodger fans worried about their pitching in big spots. It ended up being a problem against, the Padres. The Phillies, did you project this? I mean, are they a great team, or are they a great story with a great hot star? What do you make of them? Houston, if you stack them up, is the better roster, right? The pitching.
Yeah.
What do you make of Philadelphia? How would you label them?
Well, I think they were built for the postseason, and that many people didn't give them a chance. In June, I remember doing a game. They had just fired their manager Girardi, and I figured, like, look, if they could shore up a couple things. Every team has warts. They hid the warts with their top starting pitching. The top three guys were able to shorten the bullpen, which was a story for so many years. Their defense has been not great,
right,
and they were able to hide some of that. But what they are built for is this moment, and I don't think this is the formula for every team that gets in the postseason. Just get in because, by the way, they just got in, and now they're here in the World Series. But they do enough things that allow them to be as confident as they are right now. They're not a super analytical team. They don't go by every single dot and I, but they basically roll out the guys and they play, and they give those guys confidence. And I think that's a scary team to play when they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants going, hey, we're as good as you, and we can win this thing. So that's what I think they are, and I think they answered a lot of critics this year, and it has definitely been an incredible run.
You know, I saw off this series for a second, Game 1 tonight, Astros and the Phillies. You know, Aaron Boone, in baseball right now, you know, the GMs often make up the lineup card. The analytics crew tells you the pitching moves. So I tend to give baseball managers a little bit of a break, whereas I'd be tough on a football coach after 7 games if they're 1-6. The Yankees, there's Aaron Judge issues. At the end of the year, they just weren't as good a team. What do you make of the reports Aaron Boone comes back? You know, I just thought it was an explainable end of the season. What do you make of the constant criticism of Major League Baseball managers when analytics has largely taken some of their decision-making out of their hands, much to their chagrin?
We're seeing it more and more, and I think 3-4 years ago, when you speak up against it, you're shouted against,
right.
And now you're starting to see the evidence of things that are happening more and more. It's not a one-off, and you got to have some feel, you got to have some gut, and you got to have the information. You can't pour everything in one bucket. And look, certain teams are built for the regular season. I could say that the New York Yankees are built for the regular season, but what happens is you hope that those things that you are trying to avoid showing up don't show up in the postseason, and they have. So they've run up against a team that's complete as I've ever seen in Houston. Over the last 6 years, they have been able to, in their formula, limit strikeouts in their offense and strike everybody out in their defense. And their defense has been really good, too. So it's not a fluke that Houston's been here the last 4 out of 6 years. And it's not a fluke that some of these other scenarios that you're talking about have happened, because when you run by the numbers and you let a 162 campaign run your best of 5 or best of 7, you're chalking up a lot of things to over 162 that might work. That doesn't really work in a best of 7 sometimes, and we're seeing that play out. And some lessons have to be learned, and we're seeing some teams flourish who have the balance of eyes and numbers.
Yeah, and that's the Phillies. By the way, Game 1 tonight, Houston coverage, 7 Eastern on Fox. Joe Davis, every game. They may be the villains in baseball, but they are stacked. Ask the Yankees. Houston probably favored, should be favored. John Smoltz, 22 years in the sport. Today was lousy weather, or he'd be on the golf course. I wouldn't blame him, but I appreciate you stopping by the show, John. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.